So I'm going to rock and roll. So yeah, over the next hour or so, we're going to be talking about extending your reach using Facebook and Instagram. This kind of stems from some of the previous webinars I've given that's really focused in on Facebook, and it's just kind of taking us one step outside of that box. There are a lot of things to talk about. It's a bit of an eye chart here. I'm going to be moving through pretty quickly, but the way you should probably consider today is I'm going to kind of gallop through the material. This deck is posted on the district website, and I think should be used as kind of a reference deck if in fact you've got a question at a point in time and you want to remind yourself how to do something. Go back to this deck, find the appropriate page, look at the 2 or 3 slides that describe it, and then voila, the solution is there. Okay. Some assumptions for today. I'm assuming that you've been active on Facebook, so you know what your club's Facebook page is all about, and you're working to, build your followers. You've taken steps to, maximize your reach and engagement on Facebook. That's a webinar I gave back in August. You know how the basics of Instagram work. So I'm not actually going to cover how Instagram works. I'm assuming you kind of hopefully have a personal account, or maybe you've played with your club's account and you know how that works. If not, you can still appreciate tonight's webinar. But the first step for you would be a kind of a step back to get a personal Instagram account and just get familiar with the interface. It's pretty simple, but there's like no real instruction manual. So sometimes you just have to play with it for a while before you get kind of comfortable with it. My assumption is you're looking to increase your club's use of Instagram through a business page, and you want to do it as efficiently as possible. And of course, my assumption is you understand Rotary's brand and image guidelines. I think I've got to say that as a matter of course, given my role on the district. To make sure you're always on brand, never stray from the brand. Not covered today. I'm not going to cover the basics of using Instagram. And I'm not really going to talk a lot about strategy. We covered that off in August with Facebook, and the strategies we talked about then, and again, you can go to the district site and the district YouTube page to get a copy of that material. The strategies that I talked about then, I think are just as relevant for Instagram as they are for Facebook, okay? Yeah, so if you, this is the link to this presentation on our district website. You can just look for that and you're good to go. Like everything in the world of social media, what I'm talking about today is relevant for today. Facebook could come out tomorrow and change everything, and so you have to relearn it. And as a matter of fact, some of the screens I'm using, you may not be familiar with. Facebook recently launched out kind of a new looking interface for Facebook on PC. And so they're kind of in this in-between period where you can use the old interface or the new interface, but not everybody has that option just yet because they haven't fully rolled it out. I've tried to, as much as possible, use the old interface because that's probably what most people are familiar with, but there may have been a slide or two that snuck in that are the new interface. So yeah, just a caveat there. So hang on tight, or we're gonna get going. First thing, why should you use Instagram? We talked about this a little bit, but just going to go over it with more relevant and up-to-date facts here. As this is social media in Canada from a study that was published this summer. Facebook still the 800-pound gorilla with most people using it. 83% of Canadians using it in 2020. Instagram is third down the list, following YouTube at 51% of Canadians having an account of some kind. But they've seen really strong growth over the past 3 years. So it's a social media platform that's on trend and growing quite strongly. TikTok down here, another one that's growing quite strongly at 15%, but it's still very, very small. Weekly usage, strong number 2 after Facebook, roughly 7 in 10 using it at least daily. Okay, so everybody's got an account, says 7 out of 10 of those people are using it daily. You've seen this chart before. This is social media platform usage by age break. And nice thing about Facebook, we've talked about, it doesn't have a strong skew at any given age in terms of weekly users. Instagram, though, has a fairly strong skew to millennials, if we're still calling them that, 18 to 34. So if you are interested in attracting eyeballs that are younger than probably most average Rotarians, Instagram is very much the way to go. That's not to say that nobody older than 35 is using it. There are some people older than 35 that are using it. When you get down to 55 and over, it gets a little thin, not only 2 out of 10. In terms of time spent, on average, people with an Instagram account spend 53 minutes a day. It's a little less than Facebook, but still a good chunk of the day they're on that platform looking at stuff. So obviously they're engaged and they like it because that's a lot of time. And if you think about it in waking hours, it's, 1 out of 18 hours essentially looking at a screen. So let's talk a little bit about the differences between Facebook and Instagram. Number one, Facebook, we talked about no major skew. Instagram skews younger. Facebook is kind of a general social networking platform that you can, do a lot of different things with. Whereas Instagram is really mobile centric. It's really made for phones and tablets. In fact, it's very tough, if not, I won't say impossible, but much harder to use on a PC. I'm going to show you how tonight. And it's all about sharing photos. Photos. You can do videos too, but they really do prefer photos because sharing videos gets a little tough. So we're going to talk about it in a minute or two. Facebook's all about kind of close communities. Instagram's a little loosey-goosey. People on Instagram tend to have a lot more followers than that same individual does on Facebook. So in the Facebook world, we call them friends. We don't really use that acronym in Instagram. It's just people, you follow. And you're much more likely to follow a brand or an organization on Instagram. And it's very much a loose relationship you have through that platform. We talked about that already. Mobile versus non-mobile. The last one's pretty important. Facebook is really good at creating brand awareness, more so than Facebook. And it comes back to the thing I just mentioned in terms of as the average person will be following that many more brands or individuals on Instagram than they would on Facebook. So they get more stuff coming at them. And as a brand builder, you have a better chance of having more followers with an Instagram account than you do with a Facebook account. And therefore you can get your word out, at least at a very high level, to those followers on Instagram. Okay, so that's just a very quick level review of both of them. As I mentioned, Instagram is all about pictures. You can put copy in Instagram. It's a little tougher to actually read on the application, but it's about pictures and effective pictures. And so that's one of the reasons why businesses are being effective with it. They understand the impact that a strong image has in terms of either reinforcing their current brand positioning or stretching their brand in a new direction. And the pros use that very, very effectively to plant the seeds of strong brand recognition in their followers' mind. So in the world of Rotary, you've probably all seen this campaign or parts of this campaign before. This is the type of stuff, and certainly much, much more than this, that we should be thinking about as we think about putting images on Instagram out there to build a follower for our clubs and for the district. Okay. It also helps you close the sale. It's a busy chart, but basically I have age cohorts across, running horizontally. And then you have kind of let's call it the sales funnel, discovering a brand, doing research on the brand, buying the brand. And as you can see, specifically amongst younger consumers, social media and Instagram is a very important tool for people to dig deep on a brand to learn about it. Less so amongst older consumers, which you see on the right-hand side of this page, but for younger consumers, 25 to 34 and 35 to 44, really, really important. So if you've got somebody who doesn't know Rotary and they want to, try to understand a little bit more, many of those people will be looking to Instagram as a place that they would go to scratch the surface and find out more about the brand. Okay, so that's one reason, a pretty important one in my mind, why we want our clubs embracing Instagram going forward. Okay, any questions? So now we're going to get into a little bit more tech talk. No? Good. Okay, so the first thing, in order for you to extend your presence beyond just Facebook, obviously you have to have an Instagram account. So I'm going to assume you have that. I'm not going to assume that you've taken steps to link the accounts. So I'm just going to show you a couple of screens that Facebook and Instagram are part of the same company, but they're two very different products. But they have integrated them in some ways over the past little while, and that integration only really works if they're linked. Okay, so if you are using a cell phone and you've got an Instagram account, what do you want to do? First of all, you want to make sure you have administrative privileges for both the accounts, both the Facebook account and Instagram account. If you do not have that, you cannot link your account. So your name or your email address has to be associated with both your club's business Facebook page and Instagram Facebook page. First step, log on to both the applications, both the Facebook application and the Instagram application on a mobile device. Go to your profile by clicking your little button here in the bottom right-hand corner and then this hamburger icon at the top, okay? The next screen, you're gonna see this, settings. If you tap your settings, if you click on settings, you're gonna see this drop down. You're gonna see business. And then if you press business, if you're not already connected, it's gonna say connect or create, okay? Your Facebook account will then be shown on the next screen. Tap it and voila, you are now connected. The two accounts are talking to each other, not seamlessly, but relatively easily. Okay, so that's how you do it if you've got a mobile app and you want to go in through the Instagram door. You can also do it by going through the Facebook door. And this would be on a computer. So you would have your Facebook account. You would tap on settings, which you would see on your account in the top right corner. Scroll, the next settings screen would show you all this information. Scroll down on the left, you're going to see Instagram, bottom left. Tap on that. And sorry, this screen's a little bit fuzzy because I couldn't actually replicate it because my account's already linked. So I have to kind of grab this from a video. You're going to see a screen that looks like this. And basically there'll be a button on the right-hand side of the screen that says connect accounts. Click on it and voila, you are now connected. Your Instagram account and your Facebook account are connected and they can now start sharing posts between the two a number of different ways. And that's really what I'm going to talk about for the next little while is the different ways that you can share posts between the two. Any questions? No? Let me know if I'm talking too fast because I'm moving through pretty quick.
Sorry, it's Louise. Just one quick question. So you can connect either way. And once, like if I connected Instagram to Facebook, then Facebook is connected to Instagram, correct?
Correct. Yeah, either one of those paths will get you there. You don't have to do both. Just pick one. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about some of the differences between, or some of the things we got to consider. So this tonight's all about how do I create a post and get it out there on both the platforms as easily as possible. And as I do that, what steps do I need to think of or take to make sure that I'm kind of maximizing the appeal of what my post will look like on both those platforms, because they are different. They're, once upon a time, Facebook or Instagram was a separate company. I was in business for I think 3 years or so, and they got bought for $1 billion. I think there was 12 employees or something. Facebook paid $1 billion for them, and then they started integrating them. Okay, so let's talk about image sizes because it's really important. Long story short, if you're looking, and you should be planning to post all your stuff on both platforms on a go-forward basis, as much as possible, make sure that every image and or video you take is square or square-ish. So using kind of ratios, 1 to 1, 1 wide to 1 high, or 1 vertical to 1 horizontal is good. It's really good. That's what most people kind of skew towards. Not every device, phone or video camera has that capability, but a lot of them have 3 to 4 or 4 to 3, depending if you hold your camera like this or you hold a camera like that. So that's not totally square, but it's pretty close to square. So images in these dimensions tend to be the best choice. So going forward, try to remember to take your camera or your video camera off of that long, that 16:9 or 9:16 dimension, because that will create problems for you if you're looking to be efficient and share posts. Dimensions like 5:4 or 4:5 or 2:3 and 3:3:2, those are options as well on some devices. You can use those too. They're almost square, and they're good enough, if you will. Okay. So just a quick, what does this look like? If I'm looking at an Instagram feed, if I've got a square image, it looks like this. So good presence here. Portrait does a pretty good job. If you're only going to use Instagram, you'd probably want to go with portrait because it actually gives you the biggest landscape or the biggest territory for your image to land. Landscape is the worst. As you can see, generally speaking, it's smaller than square. It's smaller than portrait, and therefore your image is overall going to look smaller. And a smaller image, you could argue, has less impact than a bigger image. So back to square. Stay with that if at all possible. Most importantly, oopsie, there we go. Oops, before I get there. On top of that, if you take a look at your profile within Instagram on your mobile device, all your images and videos are kind of shown on this one screen. Those are square images too. Now, not a lot of people actually see this, but it's nice to have your ideas and images organized in a nice way that is consistent with what users will ultimately see. What you're trying to avoid for sure is this scenario here, where if you're taking 16:9, a nice video, you put all work and time in it together, and you kind of go and you're working on your computer or PC at home. There you go, it's uploaded, it's ready to go. I'm going to share this with the world on both Facebook and Instagram. Well, Facebook looks great on the computer, but if you take that same video and you look at it on a telephone screen, it's going to look like this. So Instagram is actually going to take your video and truncate it. So it cuts off a couple of sides. And so therefore, you know, the user experience is great, specifically if you've got copy on some slides, or if important people are, you know, skewed very much to the left of the screen or very much to the right of the screen. It's just kind of a disaster. So definitely you want to avoid 16:9, because this is what you're going to get. You know, I would describe that as a kind of a fail. So yeah, don't do that. I'm not going to go through all the detail here, but it's a nice little guide that shows you the different screen sizes, the different image sizes, and you can just kind of eyeball the fact that 1:1s tend to be the best in terms of minimizing the part of the screen that isn't used for image. If you really want to go into detail, there's a great resource on Hootsuite that gives you the specs for every digital or social media platform across every major type of device, and it actually talks in terms of not only, you know, frames per second, it talks about resolution, it talks about dimensions as well. Don't want to go into that much detail tonight. I think the takeaway for you guys is, you know, keep it square and you'll be in good shape. Okay. Another small difference between Facebook and Instagram revolves around the world use of hashtags and URLs and tags. A bit of a cheat sheet here. So URL, you know, when you're citing the destination online somewhere, within Facebook, you can type in on your post a URL, and guess what? It's going to turn into a clickable link that people can just press the button. It's going to take them to the website that you'd like them to go. The world of Instagram, for a basic account, excluding stories, and I'm not going to talk about stories tonight. Stories is another type of thing you can do within Instagram. I'm just talking about a basic post. You can put a URL in there, but it doesn't hyperlink. Instagram doesn't give you that capability for a basic account. I think once you surpass like 10,000 followers on your Instagram account, they give you that capability. Okay, so the only link that you can actually use within an Instagram post is the link that's associated with your profile. So let's say Burlington North has an Instagram account. We're going to have the URL for our club's website on our profile. So people can click to that. It's going to get them to the landing page. Maybe that's where you want them to go. Maybe it's not. It's not a great functionality, but it's essentially the best that Instagram offers right now for basic accounts. That could change again going forward, because it seems like such a miss to me. Tags. A tag is, use a tag within Facebook. You would put it, let's say, beside somebody's name on a post, and that notifies that person that your name's been mentioned in a post. You can do that within Facebook, and you can also do that within Instagram. Now, Instagram and Facebook will stay in their own channels. They will not cross-reference the tags. Facebook tag will only stay in the Facebook world, and Instagram tag will only stay in the Instagram world. And the same is true for hashtags. When you put a hashtag in a post, something like rural on, it creates a filtering device. And anybody with an account on Facebook could type in #rural on, and they'll find out, and rural on stands for Burlington, Ontario. They'll see every post that was associated with that hashtag on Facebook. It's typically, a hashtag like that is typically used by people that are trying to promote an event or business within a given geographic area. That same thing works within Instagram, but the paths don't cross. Yes, Barb?
Sheila says she's having trouble tagging people at posts.
Oh, where? On Facebook or on Instagram?
On the club Facebook account. It just seems it doesn't pull in the information of any individual, and I've searched and tried. So if you have any tricks, you can certainly share them. Yeah,
what I tend to do, just to be, before I actually type the name into post, I usually open up another page in my browser window, or another Facebook page in my browser window, and I go to the search bar, and I type in the name of the person I want to contact to make sure I have it right. So for instance, I could be Daniel Debray, or it could be Dan Debray, or it could be D Debray. And in fact,
Sure.
they are all out there. And so I verify which one it is for sure, and if it exists at all, and that usually helps. But other than that, I don't really know why that would be the case. Yeah.
Okay.
You might want to try one little trick that I'm going to show you later on is try switching browsers. Browsers are kind of finicky things. They sometimes allow you to do things in a different browser on the same computer will have slightly different settings and configuration. So you might try, what's the new one? Edge, Microsoft Edge as the browser, or Firefox, and you may be able to do what you want to do there.
I'll give it a shot.
It's a workaround. It's not really a good solution though.
No. Okay, I'll check into it.
Okay. Okay, cross-posting options for Facebook and Instagram. This is where it gets a little complicated. Okay, bit of an eye chart here too. So let's focus on the top part of the page. And here the assumption is I want to cross-post. That means I want to have one post, one image, one square image, and some copy, maybe a tag, and I want it to go to both Instagram and Facebook at the same time. It's a brand new piece of material. I want to get it out there ASAP. Number of different ways you can do it. So, and there's some ways that you can't do it. So if I have a brand new picture and I want to use the Facebook app to put it on Facebook and Instagram at the same time, I can't do it. That is not an option for me. On the flip side, if I have a brand new picture and I open up the Instagram app, it allows me to post on Instagram, and it gives me the option to also put it on Facebook. So it's kind of a one-way street. You can do it on one app, Instagram, but you can't do it on this app. So this is a good way to get the word out easily using a given post on both platforms. If you wanted to, you can open up the Instagram website on your PC, and you could do that as well. You can post both on Facebook and Instagram at the same time. There's something called publishing tools. I'm going to talk a little bit more of in a second. You could do that. It's a Facebook application. You can post a picture on both Facebook and Instagram at the same time using publishing tools. There's another tool called Creator Studio. That's a Facebook product as well. Allows you to do concurrent posting. And then there's another product called Hootsuite that you've probably heard about. It's it's a different company altogether, but they created basically social media platform management integration software, and it's what it's built for. It allows you to put a given post on two platforms at the same time. Okay, so with a picture, you got a lot of options to make your work easy and streamline. One post, two platforms, voila, you're done. With a video, it gets a little tougher. You can post a video using the Instagram app on your phone to both Facebook and Instagram. You can't use the web version of Instagram to do that, and you can't use Facebook publishing tools to do that. Okay, those options just don't exist. You can use Facebook Creator to do that. You can also use Hootsuite to do that. So, I guess I encourage you to think about when you've got something to share, what's the most efficient way to share it? The approach you use might very well depend on whether it's just a simple picture or if it's a video. If it's a video, you have fewer options to be efficient and share concurrently. Okay. Top of that, if you already have placed a post on one platform, but then you forgot to put it on the other one concurrently. Okay, so you have a picture on your Facebook account. You kind of go, boy, I'd just like to share that over on Instagram. And it must be an easy way to do it. The answer is there is a way to do it. It's not necessarily easy, but if you use the Creator Studio, which is a product within your Facebook account, it does allow you to cross-post an existing video from one platform to the other. And that also allows you to go the other way. Let's say you've got a video on Instagram and you want to get it over to Facebook, and it's been kicking around. It's already on your Instagram page. Creator Studio does allow you to do that, to take the post and then basically copy it and paste it over to the Facebook world. None of these other approaches will allow you to do that after the fact. So maybe one of the lessons learned is, as much as possible, try to remember to cross share as you're putting the post up for the first time, because if you don't do it, then it gets a little tougher. The options to actually create a cross share later on are few. Any questions? No? Okay.
I do. So Creator Studio is only for PC, correct? It's not for.
There is a Creator Studio app for mobile devices. My experience with there are so few features on it. It is practically useless. So what I'm talking about tonight is very much Creator Studio for PC. Yeah.
Okay. And just now, this talks about our own pictures. But with Instagram, with Facebook, it's really easy to save someone else's photo in your Facebook, but Instagram is not the same. Are you going to talk about that later?
No, this is a good point. This is all about original content. So to essentially answer your point, let's say you see a great post on Facebook that you want to share to your page. Voila, you've shared it to your page. You cannot share that post that's in the Facebook world over to Instagram, because it's somebody else's post. If they want to share it, they can. In fact, that post may also already be alive and well in the Instagram world, but you can't take a share and push it out from one platform into the other. What we're talking about tonight is really original content that you've created.
So I guess my question is, if RI is posting something in Instagram and it's an amazing photo and an amazing story, there's no way, I mean, yes, you can, there's some workarounds where you can do some screen caps and, go here and go there and save it here and save it there, but there's no really easy way. But in Facebook, when Rotary International posts to Facebook, you can actually go in and save that photo.
Right. Oops, there we go.
Sorry. So you can actually save that photo and then reuse it in your own post.
That's right.
But I find Instagram's very difficult to work with with other content other than your own.
Yeah, and even Facebook I find it's a little tough, because if it is a share that you want to kind of recreate, you do have to do a screen grab or something, recrop, repost, and go through that rigmarole if you don't have the original image or video.
Yeah, and that's been what I have been doing, is just taking a screen cap and then going into my photos and then just cropping out all of the everything else the screen cap that you don't want, and then bringing it down to just the RI photo, and then that becomes your photo, and then using that one.
That's right. Yeah. Lots of extra work there.
Yeah.
I would imagine at some point in time that using basic tools, you will be able to do what you just described. There may be, I talk a little bit about basic Hootsuite. You can buy like a pro account for Hootsuite and spend $200-300 a year, and it's got all kinds of functionality. That type of functionality might be wrapped up in a pro account in Hootsuite, but it's something that it's vendor software you have to buy. And if you see, I guess, enough value in that type of functionality, you pay for it. I would suggest probably most clubs would kind of go, we're not going to spend money on that. I'd love to at some point, especially when you got multiple accounts, right? Like right now I'm managing a club account, district account, as well as a Rotary online auction account for both Facebook and Instagram. So I got like 6 accounts, and it does get a little cumbersome just to use the Creator Studio for something like that. A nice big
Hootsuite is better for that, like a pro Hootsuite when you have different accounts.
Yeah, you can. You can have, with a free Hootsuite account, you have 3 accounts or 3 feeds. With a pro, you can have as many as 10 for your basic package with all the bells and whistles. Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm sort of in the same boat, like a personal, and then a business, and personal business, and then a business, and then a Rotary business. So I'm like managing 4 or 5 Facebook accounts, 4 or 5 Instagram accounts, plus the LinkedIn. And it's just like,
yeah, you're ready for, I think you're ready for Hootsuite for sure. You can get a 50% discount, which I think would basically net you about $8 or $9 a month is what you would pay, and it would allow the ability to manage up to 10 different accounts on that one application. There are other competitors to Hootsuite. Hootsuite was kind of the first in line, and so they're probably the biggest in town, but there are other services out there that may be cheaper. I just haven't spent too much time looking at them.
And the discounts because we're Rotary, is it?
Yeah, they give nonprofits a 50% discount off of any product. You have to obviously send them some paperwork that shows that you are a legitimate nonprofit. But yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. What's the time check, Barb?
My phone off.
Turn the phone off. Okay. I'll turn mine on. 7:32, halfway there. Okay. We're going to talk about this. This is a fairly straightforward approach, but posting an images to Instagram on a PC. So most of you guys are probably very familiar with using Instagram on your device. But in fact, you can use your PC to post an image, only an image. It can't be multiple images. It can't be a video, but you can do an image. I'm going to show you how really, really quickly. So if you were to bring up Instagram on your computer, on your web browser, essentially, you'd see something that looks like this, and you quickly notice that, hey, I can't put anything new here. There's no plus symbol for me to add a new post onto my my feed. What you do is you go over here and you click these little, I use Chrome. 3 little buttons, drop down tool will look like this. It'll say more tools. Then another drop down, it says developer tools. Click on developer tools and you're going to see a screen that looks like this, and it's kind of scary at first, like, well, what is all this stuff? Sometimes it's even scarier looking than this, but it's what, if you're a computer geek, all this would make perfect sense for you. I'm not a geek, but I know what to press. And if I press this little icon in the top left-hand corner of this area, it will basically show me or replicate what the interface for Instagram looks like, what you typically see on your phone, on your computer screen. And if you do that, you get the plus button at the bottom. And that plus button will allow you to click it on your PC. And once you do, it opens up your, your file sharing or file software. I use Explorer. You can find the image you want to put in, click the image, boom, you're good to go. And then, you press next. You'd have the option to filter your image if you want to use Instagram filters, and then type in a message if you want to put in a message and post away. So it's a bit of a quick workaround. Not a lot of people are aware of that, but if you are kind of PC centric and like the flexibility that PC has in terms of easily managing files, this is a quick way to use your PC to manage images only on Instagram. You cannot do this for a video. It doesn't have that functionality. One last thing, if it doesn't seem to work for you, the only thing you have to remember to do is press refresh your page. If it seems stalled for some reason, just refresh the page and I guarantee it will work. Okay, sometimes it stalls, sometimes it doesn't. Any questions there?
So, sorry, so you get to this developer page and then, I'm sorry, what is it that I have to do? It doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, yeah, you get to this
press that button, that
yeah,
little button.
Yeah, when you first come to Instagram, you don't have the ability, there's no plus sign here. So you have to get to the developers page by going 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Click this little icon to make your image look like a phone, and voila, this plus size is there. So you can add a new post, which is an image, by pressing that plus. And when you press plus, it opens up your, your file search app. You pick up what image you want and click next, and you're off to the races.
Oh, so you're in this view. You can never attach it to your standard view. You have to be in this view.
That's right. You have to be in this view. The standard view doesn't give you the plus button to add a new image. Only this view does.
Okay. All righty. Okay, that's good. Thank you.
No worries. Okay, let's talk about concurrent posting. So you are looking to post on both Facebook and Instagram, and you want to use Facebook publishing tools. You can do this, again, if you just have a single image. Okay, so you have probably done this before, but I'm going to run through it very quickly. This is not an option if you have a video or if you have multiple images. Okay, this feature is only available for business pages. You couldn't do this if you have a personal account. Currently only available for desktops, so you can't do this on a mobile phone. And you can't schedule a post this way if you have a post that has to be posted right now. Okay, so some caveats about this approach. So here we are. We've got a Facebook page. I want to post something. I'm going to click Publishing Tools at the very top of the screen. It's going to bring me to a page that looks something like this. And it's like, okay, I want to click over here on the right. I want to create a new post with a picture. Again, I'm on Publishing Tools in my web browser. And you're going to get something like this. You're going to have the, they're going to invite us to write a post. to upload a photo or video. But again, if we want to promote concurrently 2 places at the same time, it can only be a picture. Upload the picture. And then when you do that, you will be able to check this little box here that says put on your Instagram feed. Okay, so obviously you're in Facebook, so it checks this box for you. It says, oh, it assumes you want to do the news feed on Facebook because it's a Facebook application, but you have the option of checking this box to say, also put it on my Instagram account, please. And because your accounts are shared, you have that option. If your accounts were not linked, we talked about that 20 minutes ago, you would not see this box here. Your accounts have to be linked in order to see that box. Okay. So once you click that box, voila, this is kind of what it's going to look like. You might want to preview what your post looks like before it goes live. So I got this post here. Let's preview that. What I typically want to do is you have the option to preview your post on a desktop, on a mobile, or an Instagram to make sure that the image, depending on if you're using a square image, you're not going to have any problems. If you're using a big landscape image, you may have some problems. And this is where you can kind of check out how bad it might be before you press the post button. Okay, so preview it, and after that, boom, you're in business. You post, and it's out there on both platforms simultaneously, instantaneously. Any questions? So hopefully you've done that before with just images, because it's a pretty simple approach. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about Creative Studio, and this is where it gets, I don't want to say complicated, because I'm going to skim the surface of Creative Studio. It's got all kinds of these functions that I'm not going to talk about tonight, but I'm going to talk about it from a PC base. Okay, so if I want to concurrently post an image or a video, again, I couldn't do video before, but now maybe I want to do a video, I would use Creative Studio. So a couple things, it's a free tool, you don't have to pay money for it. Allows concurrent posting on Instagram and Facebook, allows you to schedule a post, allows you to manage multiple profiles. So this is what I use right now for my 6 profiles. I use Creative Studio. Gives you good analytics and insights on the post, lets you know how they performed, and it's got a bunch of other stuff it can do, which I'm not going to get into because I frankly haven't spent that much time learning about it. Okay, now, quick caveat. Creative Studio in theory promises to be a great tool. And what I've learned for, I guess, the past 2-3 months or so, it is pretty buggy. It works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't work, and I can't tell you why. I'm going to talk about some workarounds if you find it doesn't work. But in theory, if it works properly, it's a really nice tool to have. Okay. I also found understanding and getting clarity on administrative privileges. I mentioned I had 6 accounts for a while there. I was only seeing 5 accounts on Creative Studio, and it wouldn't give me an easy answer to get the 6th account in. I finally figured it out. I can't honestly recall what I did, but it took me the better part of half a day to get it, the door open. Most people only have 2 accounts, so it shouldn't be an issue. But for people that are managing much, much more, it could be an issue. Okay. Okay, so here we are. We're on your page. We're going to click on the top here, which says Publishing Tools. You're going to go down here, click on Creator Studio. Okay. It's going to take a while to load, probably 30 to 40 seconds for the next screen to load up. So be prepared for that. You're going to get something that looks like this. Okay. Creating a post up here, and I'm currently actually in my content library, and this is where I do most of my work. Okay. So what I'm trying to do again is create a post concurrently on Facebook and Instagram using Creative Studio. Click Create a Post. I'm going to post it to Instagram. Sorry, in this case, I'll actually take a step back. Sorry, I'm confusing myself here. One very important thing. So Creative Studio is a product that spans both Facebook and Instagram. When you see a purple bar at the top of the screen, you are on this Instagram interface. If you click this Facebook icon, this purple bar will turn blue, and you're going to be in the Facebook world. Very, very important note. The 2 worlds do not marry each other. The 2 worlds come to you from the same place, but they have different functionality, which drives me crazy, but that's the way it currently works. So right now I'm in the Facebook world, Instagram world, purple on top, and I want to create a post on Instagram that I'm then going to share onto Facebook. Okay. Now remember, we got to this Instagram world through your Facebook page. Okay, so don't get confused that you got here from Instagram. No, you got here by first going to your Facebook page, pressing Publishing Tools, and then Creator Studio. Okay, so here we are, Instagram. I create a little video. I'll say something about the video I created. It's going to post to Instagram. The bottom of the page, I'm going to have the option to click here, which is concurrent posting to Facebook. So here I can take a video, post them to both places at the same time, the same image, the same copy. If you're using a square video or a square image, it's going to look great. Push publish, you're good to go. The job is done. Okay. A little confirmation screen letting you know you've done that. Okay. Any questions there? I went through that pretty quickly, but it's just that simple. You have to go to the Creator Studio app and start to embrace it to put the posts, and you'll find the drop down menus and the checkboxes are there to allow you to cross share. Okay. Now, so remember I talked about Facebook within Creator Studio, Facebook and Instagram are not kind of mirrored image of themselves. So I do not have the ability to use, if I were to press Facebook and say, okay, I want to create a Facebook video post and share it to Instagram going down that path, I can't do it with Creator Studio. It doesn't give you that option. You can only go through the Instagram door to get your Instagram post to Facebook. You can't go through the Facebook door to get your Facebook post to Instagram. So not sure why they designed it that way, but that's one of the realities of the program right now. Okay. So that's not an option. This is another straight up one. Hopefully you're already doing this, using Instagram on a mobile device to cross post to Facebook and Instagram at the same time. Real simple step. Let's say you've got an image you like, open the app, select the image you want from the options that the app will show you. Add a filter if you want to the image, add copy to the post. Below that, again, if your accounts are linked, you're going to have the option to click. Push the little button over there and it's going to cross post at the same time. So when you press share, voila, that same post is going to hit Instagram, no surprise, as well as Facebook at the same time. Okay. So if you've never noticed that button before, take a look after your accounts are linked and you're in business. Okay. So like I said earlier, life is relatively easy when you got a brand new piece of video or picture you want to share and you want to share them concurrently. Gets a little bit more interesting when you've got a post that exists on one platform that doesn't yet exist on another. So you posted something, but you forgot to cross post concurrently at the same time. So it's after the fact, it's a day later, you kind of go, yeah, I want to do that. I want to get that post over there. How do you do it? Well, you can. So again, we're in Creator Studio. You're on the Facebook version of Creator Studio, not because it's blue up here, not the purple one. You go to your content library, you click on the post that you want to get over to Instagram, okay? In the content library, you're gonna have all the posts that you've done. These are all original posts, not shared, that you've done yourself. Pick on the one you wanna share. And then once you do, a nav bar is going to be at the very top of this page or close to the top of the page. And at the very end of the nav bar where this little chevron is, if you click the chevron, another menu is going to appear and it's going to say cross post to Instagram. Okay. Once you click that button, that post that is currently residing on Facebook will then be posted to Instagram. Okay. So a little cryptic. I don't know why they don't make it easier, but it is very doable as long as you know where to find the cross post button, and it's over here underneath the arrow. Okay, so that's one way to take existing content, whether it's a picture or a video, get it from the Facebook world that it's been living on for a day or two, whatever, and get over to Instagram. And it's going to live there nicely as long as the image size works. Some of these, they may get slightly truncated once we take them from the Facebook world to Instagram. So you might be a little careful about which ones you choose to move over. But if you're living in a square world, you should have no problems. Okay. Now, once it's done, click over to this button here. It's going to take you to the purple world. Just verify that that post actually did make it over to Instagram. Okay. Sometimes it will stall, and I'll talk about that very, very briefly. It should be seamless, but sometimes when in the middle of getting the post over there, it never shows up or it stalls. And if it stalls, more often it'll show you the image here, and instead of saying published, it'll say draft. It's like, what the hell's a draft? I just wanted it to get post. So now you've got something posted on Facebook, but you've got the draft of that post sitting on Instagram. And so nobody sees it. Only you can see it. What do you do when that happens? Couple things. Just make sure that the video, if you are using a video, is the right format. So almost everything you shoot these days should be about 30 frames per second or lower if you're taking it from a cell phone. But if you use a video camera with Super HD, it may be a higher frame rate. If you can, try to dumb down the frame rate to get to the 30 or below, and you should have no problems. Sometimes when you walk away from your computer and try the same thing that we just did an hour later, it'll work. So if you've got the time, try uploading that same post at a later time and it might work for you. If you don't have the time, try opening a different browser. So if you typically use Chrome, open up Firefox. Go to go to your Facebook page on Firefox, gets to Creator Studio on Firefox, give it a go. Often that will work for whatever reason. Push comes to shove, you can always use the web version of Creator Studio on a mobile device, not the app, but so you can use your cell phone or a tablet, open up the web version of Creator Studio and try it that way. That could work too. It's basically the same solution. Try a different browser, but a browser that's not on your computer, it's on a device. So you can have lots and lots of success, but every now and then you'll run into a rough patch where stuff just doesn't seem to be moving easily from one stage to the next, but there are solutions that will get it there over time. Okay. Now, if all these approaches fails, you can simply recreate the post if it's sitting on your hard drive or your device somewhere. Just grab the file and repost it. If you don't have the file, let's say you've lost the file somewhere, the nice thing is you can actually go into Creator Studio and grab the file. So for instance, I'm back here in the Facebook world in Creator Studio. I'm in the content library and I want to get this post. But I don't have this post. It's not sitting on my computer anymore. It's just sitting in a Facebook page. Maybe I deleted it after I posted it. If you click on that box, you get the drop-down menu. You have the option to download that video onto your computer's hard drive. So you grab it from Facebook, put it onto your hard drive. You can now take the original content and repost it onto Instagram or Facebook if you want, using the original file. Okay. Any questions? Nope.
Yeah, I have a question. So
Sure.
Everything that you showed me, I do not have this screen when I'm looking at my PC. I don't have the edit, view, create. I don't have a little drop down button.
Did you check the check mark?
There's no check mark. I don't have a check mark. I can't.
Are you on the content libraries page under posts?
Yeah. So I have a content libraries page and I'm on a post like you have, and I don't have that. I have my posts with the status and the date and detail, etc.
Yeah.
And then the last word that I have is engagement, distribution, 3-second video engagement. But I don't have this your that middle, edit, view, insight. It looks like it's some sort of
interesting.
Is there a certain tab bar that has to be displayed, or
no? I'm going to recall here, but I'm pretty sure when I checked the box, it opened up that options to do something with that specific file that was checked. The other thing that could be happening, and I have noticed it happen before, is it's only going to show me content that I put on and as the administrator. So let's say somebody else has put a content there for you. You may have access to see it, but you don't have access to do something with it. So I've noticed that in the past.
So that would sort of bring me, because we're on Facebook now, right? And that's the same sort of thing where I keep asking, for example, Darren, who's our specialist. I don't have a username and login for Facebook. It's just attached to my personal.
Okay, so the issue could be, and if we have got time, we'll cover it later on tonight. If not, we can do it offline anytime you want. Give me a call. Is ensuring that two things. You have to make sure that your club's page is a business page. Your Instagram page is a business page, and they're in fact linked, and that you have administrative privileges on both of them.
Okay.
If all those boxes are not checked, you cannot do what we're doing here.
Okay. So they need to be business pages for Facebook, business pages for Instagram.
Correct.
And I have to have what privilege? Sorry.
You have to be the administrator in order to link them. And once you are the administrator, you can confirm that you have the ability to link them. If you're not the administrator on both those pages, you will not have the ability to link them. Only the administrator has the ability to link them if they wear that hat on both the applications.
But as a user, I can still post to them and do all that. I just can't do some of this other.
Yeah, you may have editing privileges, which would give you the ability to post stuff. I would just ask Darren to up your privileges to admin as opposed to just editing.
Okay, all right, that's great. Thank you, because I just, there's a few things that I've tried and it doesn't work. So
yeah, it sounds like you're not the administrator on both.
And can you not have multiple administrators?
Yeah, absolutely. You can have as many as you want. Yeah, not an issue. I shouldn't say that. You can have many. I think in our club, I think there might be 5 administrators on our club Facebook page and maybe 3 on our Instagram page. Yeah.
And as an administrator, you would need, sorry, I won't take any more time. Sorry, I'm going down a bad path here. Never mind. I'll be quiet.
That's a good path. No, it's an important question because a lot of the stuff remember I talked about trying to identify administrative rights within Creator Studio. It's clunky. It took me forever to figure out whether I had the accounts lined up properly, and it did not make my job easier. I clicked on bazillion buttons within this app. I searched online for answers, and ultimately I figured it out, but I couldn't tell you. I couldn't retrace my steps. That got all my dots connected, but it is the key thing is you have to be an administrator, not just an editor on both the platforms. And then you have to go through the process of linking them. Yeah. And again, we covered that fairly quickly at the beginning tonight, but I again encourage you to use this as a reference deck. If you have questions tomorrow, to go straight to the reference and go through it screen by screen to make sure you can get your problem solved. If not, give me a call. I'll try to help you. Okay. What are we talking about now? Cross-posting existing concepts on Instagram to Facebook. Okay, so we just talked about you're in the Facebook world, you want to put something on Instagram. Now we're talking about I'm going to be in the Instagram world on Creator Studio and I want to put something onto Facebook. So again, purple world here, I'm on Instagram. I take a video, click it. Again, we have a slightly different menu at the top of the page. It doesn't look the same as the Facebook menu. This one says upload to Facebook and it's right there. I don't have to drop a little chevron and click another button. It's just right there. Boom, press that. It should upload to Facebook. Again, the caveat is this is glitchy software. Sometimes it stalls, okay? Checks the frame rate, try a later time. Sometimes if you just press a refresh button when it's stalled, this little button up here, and refresh your page, voila, it'll work. So when in doubt, press refresh, and sometimes it opens a magic door to allow the file to move through, okay? We talked about using Creator Studio within the Facebook world of it to download a post from Facebook onto your hard drive. You cannot do that within Creator Studio on Instagram. So if I've got this post and it's only on Instagram, there's no option here to say download the high def version of this file onto my hard drive so I can physically repost it onto Facebook. Not an option. Not sure why. It's just the way it is. So a little frustrating, but you do what you can with the tools they gave you. Okay. I'm going to talk about Hootsuite. What's the time check? This really quickly. 56. I got 4 minutes. I got 3 slides left, I think. So Hootsuite, what is it? It's a social media management platform. It's pay per user. It's it's a big company unto itself. They've been around for a long, long time. Allows you to directly post onto social profiles, not just the 2 that we've been talking, but also Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So it's kind of the major dashboards. It allows you to do all kinds of stuff concurrently. You can post right away, or you can schedule posts. You can manage multiple profiles. You can target your messaging, and let's say you're buying ads. Hootsuite's also used to do that. You can use it for targeting, and it's got a world of analytics to let you know what your social media programs are doing, regardless of the platform you're using. If you want, you can get a free account that allows you manage 3 feeds. So if you're a club and you have 1 Facebook feed and you have 1 Instagram feed, it's a viable product for you. Now you can only post directly and do scheduled posts with the tool for the free version. If you want to pay some money, sorry, it's about 18 bucks a month. I think I said $8 a month. After discount, 18 bucks a month, you can have up to 10 social media profiles, and you have the full suite of functionality, including targeting, analytics, and profile management. Okay, so that could be an option for you if you find you've got a lot of different streams you're managing. Let's say, let's say you're doing district work, and we open up Twitter and LinkedIn as new social media platforms. At that point, I'd probably be making a case to Mike or to whoever to say, hey, I think we got to invest in Hootsuite if we don't want to do this efficiently, because it just, you need something that has the muscle to do the job, and Hootsuite's a good product to do it. So I'm not going to go into how you sign up for Hootsuite, but if you go there, and again, if you have administrative privileges and your accounts are linked, if you go to Hootsuite website and you say, start my free product, it'll take you literally 2 screens to get up and going. And when you're up and going, you're going to have the ability to create a stream. So a stream is essentially, in this case, I've got a stream for my posts on Facebook, and I've got a stream for my posts on Instagram. Okay. It'd be nice if they put a little F there instead of a flag. But anyways, so I can see all the posts I've ever done on this screen within Hootsuite. And it's very, very simple. If I want to create a brand new post, I just go over here, click that, put in, select the account I want to put my posts on. So in this case, I want to post concurrently on the Facebook page as well as the Instagram page. Click to next, put in my text, upload my media. Boom, you're off to the races. It'll also give you a view of what your post is going to look like in both those apps before you press go. Okay. Yeah, so again, it's a nice app to have if you like to work on Instagram on a PC. It's very, very kind of user friendly, and the fact that it's not Facebook, a Facebook company, kind of gives it some perspective and some tools that maybe they haven't bothered to think about or haven't bothered to want to push out to their users just yet.
And do these have to be business accounts as well, or can they be individual?
No, I think these can be individual accounts. So if you have, for whatever reason, you cannot link individual accounts. They have to be business accounts to be linked. But let's say you had 3 Facebook pages, one for your family, one for your friends, and one for your club. Hootsuite could be an option for you, even if 2 out of those 3 platforms are not business pages. Yeah. Okay, so that's the basic material. There is in this deck, very quickly, sorry. How do I minimize this? There we go. There are these pages in the deck. So if you're going to refer to it at a later point in time, it's verifying that your Facebook page is a business page. If it's not, creating a Facebook business page from a personal page, verifying you have an Instagram business page, and then creating a Instagram business page from a personal page. So there's kind of a step-by-step in this deck at the very, very end. If you need to go through those steps before you come up here to link the 2 business pages. Okay. So that's it. As I mentioned, there's a lot of material. Yeah, I do not expect you guys to remember much of what I said. If anything, you're going to remember there's a tool called Creative Studio it's pretty good, but can be glitchy. There are easy ways to put a post out there on both platforms concurrently. If and when you're doing it, always remember to do it concurrently, because it gets harder to do it sequentially later on. As much as possible, use square video, square images. It makes your life easier. Also makes your post look much better if you're pressing this, the post button, and it's going to both places at the same time. Any questions?
In the linking of business pages, it is a one-to-one. You can't link 2 Instagram to 1 Facebook business and vice versa, correct?
That's beyond the scope of my knowledge. I'm actually pretty sure you can. There's a whole nother level of app on top of a business page, which is called Facebook Business Manager. So let's say you are a social media guru and you work not only on your own pages, but people employ you to work on their pages. There is a whole labyrinth of access that using Facebook Business Manager gives you. Hootsuite gives it to you as well, if you want to pay for it. I haven't bothered to embrace it yet, because I've looked at it. it's very complicated. It is for professionals who spend their days looking at nothing but those screens with a bazillion different options.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay, great. Hopefully it's not too complicated, but again, it's really just a how-to manual to allow you to do things more efficiently. And I certainly encourage you all to get out there and start using Instagram. It's got a lot of pluses. Most importantly, the ability to quickly build brands, because your reach is just that much easier to get on the Instagram world. It's easier to get followers, way easier to get followers on Instagram than it is on Facebook. Okay, have a good night. Take
Thank
care.
you, Dan.
No problem.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dan.
That's
Yep.
great.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.